we're supposed to do. We're just supposed to be a hamburger helper to these men. I ain't no hamburger helper. Welcome to the Journey channel. I am Chelsea. Please make sure you share, subscribe, and like so we can definitely help other people become the best version of themselves. So God has been really speaking to me about women. So I know I'm a woman. Power to the women. I gotta support my women out there because I know what we go through. So it made me understand how captivating a woman is. And when I say by captivating, it's like when you are watching a good movie or a good something, whatever you are watching, it captivates you to the point that you can't stop looking at it. And it's not because of the beauty on the outside, but what is on the inside of us that brings forth things that God has created only in us as women and not in men. And this isn't here to tear down men at all. It just shows the difference and the beauty of who we are as women. So let's get into the book of Genesis. This is the first book of the Bible, and it talks about, and let's just go right into Genesis 1:26. The first thing it says, then God said, let us make human beings in our image and likeness. So the very first thing as a woman, as a captivated woman, we are image bearers of Christ. So we are not only his image bearers, but we carry his beauty within us. So that's why, which we're going to talk more about, having beauty on the inside of us will portray the beauty on the outside of us. We are image bearers of Christ. So that's the very first thing. Boom, right out the nutshell. Second thing it says, and let them rule over the fish in the sea, the birds in the sky, over the tame animals, over all the earth, and over the small crawling animals on the earth. We were created to rule. I know that there's this, division between men have to rule, and yes, they have a different authority, different leadership that God has given them. If you continue on, there are some specifics of what men were created and destined to do. But there's also an understanding that we as women, we have the ability to rule. We have the ability to lead. We have the ability to do things that men cannot do because of who we are as women. So the next one is a womb. We have the ability as women to carry nations within us, all within 9 months, not even a year, we can birth life. So God has given us the ability, the power to not only birth people, not only birth life, but to birth creativity, to birth businesses, to birth things into this world that can transform and build nations. We have the ability, and it starts with this womb and things that produce and grow and begin to come forth in our lives and impact nations. We are the impactors of nations because of the birth thing in us, because of the wombs. We produce, we birth life. That is amazing as a woman. So side note, women out there, if you are seeking a man, make sure he is, number one, has an intimate relationship with God, and that he is building and cultivating his vocation. That is very important. This is why God created us in the time that he did, because he wanted to ensure that man had his focus on God first and also was able to cultivate his vocation, his work. So then we show up. And we show up as God says, it's not good for man to be alone. So now we show up and he says, I'm going to bring you a helper. And I know this word helper kind of diminishes us. We're just like, a helper? What does that mean? Am I some hamburger helper? I ain't no hamburger helper. But that is not what he is truly saying here. If you look at the Hebrew word of helper, it means izar. And if you look in the Old Testament, it says it about 20 times in the Old Testament, that word izar, about helper. And if you have seen, if you study and research about that, it says that every time it's used, it's stating the desperation, the desperate need of God. That it is that, God is my helper, my strength, that it's just this desperation that God will come through. So that helper, that word, is defined as protector, aid, life saver, rescue, save. And then the other word is kanigo, which is suitable. That shows the compatibility that is needed between a man and a woman, that we need to be compatible if we are going to be with a man and a woman. And that's why God placed Eve, because he said, you know what, I need someone that you are going to be compatible with, that can rescue, that can save you, that can build you up, that can protect you, that can be your lifesaver. That's why God said, you have your vocation, man. You have your intimacy with me, but now I need to develop your character. So therefore, I'm bringing in a woman to build and develop you so you can be someone greater than before. We as women are very powerful, and if we understand who we are as women, we can walk in who we are and be lifesavers of nations. What I'm focusing now on is what occurred after the fall. There started to be sin and a distortion of the perception of man and women. So the very first thing that occurred from women is birth pains. So first, I guess before time, you didn't have to struggle with birth pains, y'all. That's amazing. But now we have the issue of pain when we're giving birth. So this isn't just pain when we are producing and giving life, but also, like I said, when we produce and build, when we try to build up creativity and businesses, there's pain involved. When we try to build up homes and families, there's pain involved in it. But understand, if we keep pushing forward past the pain, we will bring life in whatever situation that we are in. The next thing it says about just the distortion of reality is the desire. It says in Genesis that there will be a desire to control men, and men will want to rule women. So now what occurred is this division between man and woman, which is just like, that is just such a big thing that wrecked my heart. Like even last night I was just like, God, like as women and as men, we are so divided that we are like bickering and against each other. And that's what sin wanted. Satan wanted us to be divided, because if you understand, if you have a healthy marriage, if you have a healthy, if you have a union between a man and a woman, that produces healthy nations, healthy communities, healthy families. It produces something good, because it was the original way we were created, to become one. We were originally created to work together. We were originally created to work together as a team, as one, as partners, as you know, as accountability partners. We were created to walk alongside of each other. This is not just marriage. I'm talking about even friends. We were created to journey life together, to build up the world, to restore. And what happened was sin distorted that. It brought us apart. It separated us. Now, as women, we have the mindset we want to be independent. There's nothing wrong with independence, but we have this distortion, and we have this desire of being against men, and the men have this desire of being against women. And now we treat each other differently because of that. But the thing, when Jesus died on the cross, he brought redemption. So he brought this mindset where we can be redeemed. We don't have to walk in that old way. We don't have to walk with the reality of sin and be distorted, but we can walk with purpose and calling. We can walk as we were created to be. And it says in 1 Peter 3 that we are called to have a gentle and quiet spirit. That doesn't mean we have to be silent. That doesn't mean we have to have a low voice, but actually means that we as women bring God's order into a situation. That gentle and meekness means boldness. That it means this sensitivity that we have, that we're able to not yell and scream, but that we're able to gently, that we're able to meekly, that we're able to, in a loving way, bring God's order. And that's what we are called to do as women. That if you understand, let me just give you an idea. I don't know if you saw Black Panther. If you missed Black Panther, you need to see it. But at the end, one of the warriors, which was a woman, there was this huge battle that was going on. And her husband actually was the one that started the battle. It was bringing this division that was occurring in their land, to the point that there was a part where her husband was going to kill one of the leaders of one of the tribes. And he had his rhinoceros, and he was like moving forward to really kill this man. And the man was not able to see and realize it. So what she did, she stepped in the middle between them two. And it just stood there with confidence and boldness, with meekness and gentleness. And the rhinoceros immediately stopped. and then gently licked her face. And then her husband came down and he asked her, "Are you going to kill me?" And she said, she put up her spear in his face and she said, "If I have to, I will." And immediately he recognized that she wasn't playing. So he dropped his sword and the battle ended. And all she did was stood her ground. All she did, and this is how women are, we have the ability to walk into the middle of a battlefield and end it because of the beauty that God has given us on the inside. And that is a gentle and quiet spirit that brings God's order into a situation. And that is who we are as women. We have the ability to exercise God's strength, God's control in any situation. And there's some times that we have to realize the power that we have is so strong that we can empower men, we can empower people to become greater than themselves. If we just recognize who we are on the inside, recognize the wholeness that we can have in Christ. The issue that is occurring with some women is the fact that we are giving up our worth. We're giving up our value. We're not truly understanding who we are as women and why we were originally created, and the beauty that we have on the inside, and the gentleness that God has given us, and the love that we can just pour out to the people. We have forgotten that our worth, we have forgotten our value, and we walk around giving ourselves, our bodies to men that don't deserve it. And it's beginning, if you realize, since we have the ability to develop a man, we can develop a man incorrectly based off of what we present ourselves with. If we give ourselves up freely as women, we can begin to create childlike men. We can begin to create perverted men. And it's not all on us. But if we stand strong on what we believe, if we stand strong on our values and what we believe we are worth, if we stand strong on what we deserve, we will raise up the men to a higher standard. They will not try to just get in our pants. They will not try to just belittle us, but they will understand that we are in the image of Christ, that we are loved, that we are beautiful. I just want to encourage you guys that you have the power, and it's not this power to control, but the power to love gently and beautifully. I'm here to encourage you that let's no longer look at our worth as empty. Let's not look at ourselves as not beautiful or unloved, but know that we are truly loved by God. And if we just dive into the scriptures and understand his character, we will begin to understand who we are as women. So that being said, date yourself. Take the time to write down the things that you love and things you don't love, your personality, understand your temperament, understand truly who you are, how God wired you. Because now that you know who you are as a woman, what is a woman, now you need to dive in and who you are as an individual, as the way that God uniquely created you to be. You are beautiful, you are empowered, and you are loved. Don't forget, next week we're going to have some guests that we're going to just try to get the male's perspective and the female's perspective of different topics, especially about dating and about women versus men. We're going to talk about it and we're going to be real. So I hope to see you tune in next week on Thursday. I love you all. And listen, men, empower your woman. Love on your woman because she needs to be loved, especially during this Rona. All right, see you guys later. Bye.